Hello everyone. It looks like this laptop won't survive my presentation. All right. My topic is software link planning and scheduling for optimum efficiency of the plant. First of all, how many people are here who are related to planning here? Anybody does planning here in their offices? Some, okay. How many are there in production? Quite many. How many in merchandising? None. Very nice. My topic relates with efficiency. So, can I know from the people what are the reasons for this low efficiency in your factories? Some. Any? Production people? Yes?
Yeah, one of the major factors which we see is the supply chain management.
Okay. What else?
Obsolete machinery,
Okay.
obsolete system of production,
All right.
lack of training of these workers,
Mm-hmm.
and non-motivation, maybe reason.
Okay. Anything else?
Attitudinal hands.
Very nice. What else?
Mismatch in the planning.
Mismatch in the planning. You were saying something? Okay.
Poor planning also a reason.
Poor planning, yes. Is it a merchandising problem also?
Yeah.
Huh? Does it ever happen that the fabric didn't come on time? You were all ready for making the production, but fabric didn't come on time, one day late only? Does it happen? Always. Approvals didn't come on time? Does it happen? Okay. Packing films didn't come on time. You did the sewing complete, but you can't pack it. Does it happen? Happens. All right. What about HR? You didn't have the manpower to make the production? This happens ever? A typical problem these days? It's a skill problem. Please, Pavla. It's a skill problem. So you needed 3 Kansai operators, you have just one. You needed some single needle operators, overlock operators, flat lock operators. You don't have that many as you wanted. It happens very often. It can be a cutting, embroidery, printing, any other source, previous department's problem. Very common. Happens with you? Yeah, production. So I'm just giving an example. So sewing will complain about cutting, sewing, cutting, printing. Cutting will talk about fabric. Sewing will talk about embroidery. Embroidery will talk about cutting as well. So yes, any department to any department. This is very, very common, I believe, in most of the factories that I have seen so far. And sometimes it is just complicated. We just could not produce how much we wanted to do, and we still don't know why we did not. So this is one thing. What is the impact of one day loss? Like the fabric did not come for one day. What is the impact of it on your factory? Any idea? Costing will increase. So line cost, of course, whatever my line cost is right now will be one of the impact. Is there any other impact? Any other impact on that? So what happens to your future orders? They all get delayed by at least one day, if not more. What happens to the working capital? You have already booked the fabric for the next orders. It is going to be there on time, but you can't produce it that day. So one day WIP, you have already invested in, and it is stuck. You can't do anything about it. Everywhere, yes. What about the capacity of upstream and downstream planning? It has an impact on that also. Because one day you could not produce, you have cutting department which will not produce for one day. I mean, ultimately, one day, if the capacity was 1,000 pieces every day, you will probably produce 900 pieces for 10 days, and you will lose that capacity. And there is no way you will know where did it go, right? And similarly, in the future, so after cutting, after sewing, you have finishing, other department. Every department is going to lose one day at least. What happens to the orders being booked today? Today you know that your line is booked till, let's say, 15th of January. One day is lost today. Do you plan for that? Do you book your next order for 16th of January? Do you do that today? No. The next order is still going to be on the 15th of January only. So what is the mechanism that you have today that you can match these things up? So why plan? To utilize the capacity, whatever capacity you have in the cutting, sewing, finishing, embroidery, everything. Other departments also, so HR, merchandising, all departments. You want to utilize your capacity to the fullest, so you want to plan. There are multiple processes involved. the interdependencies between these processes. So one process doesn't happen, the other process will not happen. The coordination between these departments is very, very important. So for example, you lose one day in here, what happens to your capacity for the next one? Knowing the limitations. If I know that I will not be able to produce this order this day, can I do something about it today? Can I utilize some other resource somehow and make that happen? Preparing the issues, prepare for issues. So whatever issues may be there, I can prepare for them and have a control. Ultimately, on-time completion of all the orders. Minimizing the setup time for each order. Minimizing the work in progress, as I mentioned. So fabric that you booked already, what do you do about it? To plan for future bookings. So,
Is also important.
pardon?
Some margin.
Yes. So on-time delivery, ultimately what you're worried about, my shipment I have booked, I should go on time. Yes. So what do we need to plan now? What is it? We want to plan the execution of order, that's number one, right? Whatever we have booked, at least that should go on time. So cutting, embroidery, handwork, printing, sewing, washing, finishing. I'm sure there are multiple other processes you're working in. NCR is the hub where you have different kind of processes in every single garment. So yes, all departments become very, very important for you. What about resources? Manpower, machinery, capacity. You might have an embroidery machine which has only 6 heads, can only make maybe 5,000 pieces in a day. And suddenly you have 5 orders, all need embroidery. Happens? What do you do about that? You have to outsource. Sourcing. Yarn, fabric, processing, trims, all of it requires capacity, requires booking, requires money. When do you book? What? How? And of course, marketing. When to book, what to book, how much to book. Do you have this visibility today for your factory? Do you have it? The planners, the merchandisers, there are no merchandisers here, okay. But they are the equal part of it. How do you plan currently in your factories? The planning people, can somebody help me? How do you plan it today in your factory? Planning people at the back over there, right? How do you plan it today? How do you plan today in your factory? Okay. Which software is it? Fast React. All right. So you place all your orders accordingly to your capacities and drag and drop and put it to the right place. That's what you're doing, right? Many people even today use Excel sheet. Thank God somebody is using software for doing things. Very nice. So that takes care of one part of my topic. So yes, but still many people are still working on Excel sheets today. How much time it takes to make an Excel? Usually a complete day, or maybe at least half a day, to make a plan for all your orders in which line, what will go, how many pieces will come out. It takes at least a half a day for a very, very smart person to do that. How frequent? Does it happen monthly or weekly or daily basis? Usually it is one-time job. Once done, this becomes your Bible. You start doing it. You start executing it. You can't change it because it takes almost 4 hours to revise the whole plan once again. What if the actual output doesn't meet what is your planned quantity? You plan to produce 500 pieces every day, and suddenly you realize that you are making only 300 pieces in a day. What do you do then? Whole of your capacity is screwed up. So,
And our distributors may be down.
yes, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. So, what if the actual quantity is not matching your?
Basically, worked out the proper time to be taken.
Bilkul correct. So that is the point I'm trying to make. So if it doesn't match, then what? So
Either it is too early or it is too late.
yes, yes. So if your plan is not matching your actual quantity, so you need to be able to compensate for that usually. What if the approvals didn't come on time? What if the fabric didn't come on time? When do you get to know that the fabric is not coming on time so you can do something about it? Do you know whether you will be able to meet all the future shipments or not? Who plans? I'm very sure that all of the factories have a very, very smart person doing the planning today, because it requires some skills to understand all the orders, what it will take to execute that order, what all processes it will take to execute that order, what kind of time it will take from cutting to finishing to sewing, cutting to sewing to finishing, when the fabric is going to come. So he or she should be able to coordinate with all the departments also. What is my capacity available? When the fabric is coming, when the approval is coming, a very smart person required. Am I right on this? What happens is planning person leaves the company. We are back to square one. The plan doesn't get updated for at least a week or two. We will wait for some time till the time somebody else joins and starts understanding the system once again and starts planning again. So it takes some time for you to survive that change. What are the challenges? Briefly, planning tasks are very dynamic in nature. My orders can be moved from one place to another depending on my capacity. One line is not getting free on time, so you have to allocate the same order maybe in some other line. So it is very, very dynamic. And what changes? Every day it changes because your output might not match, your fabric might not come on time, your approval might not have come so far. So everything may change on a daily basis. It is not happening a week's bit. It's not going to wait. Okay, no, the week is still going on. Let us not say that the fabric is not going to come on time. We'll wait for the next week to announce that. It doesn't happen that way. Based on the slow production, delay in approval of fabric problems, the plan needs to change immediately. Based on the change plan, respective people have to be informed immediately that, okay, this is changed from here to here. Make that arrangements for yourself. All downstream and upstream planning has to be updated as well. What is our approach? We have software called Kandari, which is from our partner CSL Software. What Kandari does is very simple. It asks you what is your logic. That planning person has defined certain logic to do this planning, right? They have decided some basic understanding of this 5 things are there, which I will be using for making my plan. You define the logic, let the calculation be done by the software. Now what basically it means is we don't need that smart person anymore to do this planning part. We need that person there to actually execute it. What was the plan? How it is actually being done? That is where the brains can be utilized and make things happen. Instead of doing this donkey work in the past, that all the planning work, okay, move this order from here to here, let's not do that. Define the logic, let the software make the plan. What are the basic parameters required for doing this planning? For each order, basic things, we need the buyer name, we need the product type, we need the shipment date, when it is supposed to go, we need what are the order quantities, estimated per day production, what are the number of machines required. Am I making sense so far? For each orders, do you need these things to know before you can do any planning at all? You need to know how many, what will be the build-up like, what will be my first day output, how many days it will take for me to do this setup of the line altogether. All these things you already know. All are from production people here. They already know this. Okay, this is a different type of order. I will take maybe 2 days just to set it up. I will probably produce only 50 pieces on the very first day. I will take maybe 100 pieces on a daily basis will be the increment on it. And I will be able to produce maybe 400 pieces per day on this line. And I will require 30 workstations on this line. What are the processes involved? Does this require embroidery? Does it require printing? Does it require finishing? Of course, all the garments require finishing, but so you can define what all processes are required. What is my earliest start date? You all know that different kind of orders will require different type of initial time. So you require approvals, you require processes, you require fabric, yarn, different type of, I don't know. This is a problem. Type of processing it requires may have a different lead time for different type of fabrics. So you need to provide a earliest start date than when you can start, which you normally call as a PCD right now in all your factories. You normally call it PCD. This is the same date. Then you have a priority. Which order should be made first? Which order should be made later? Number of lines you want to allocate it to? And if any other detail, which is what you want to monitor for each order. So for example, if you want to monitor the monetary part of it as well, FOB, CM, contribution, fabric, you can monitor that as well. For the capacity planning, we need to know how many lines you have, what are the line product capabilities. So what we are trying to understand is what is your factory all about, because there are constraints for each factories. There are definitions of each factory. That okay, this factory, this line is capable of making shirts or trousers or t-shirts or jackets or bottoms or dresses. These are defined. We all know that. And based on these, since we know that this order will require cutting also, finishing also, sewing, printing also, embroidery also, handwork also, all this data, we just need to provide it one place. And the software takes care of planning for you. It doesn't require anything else. And I'm not referring to one software, but just giving an example of doing this planning. How does the planning board look like? On the left-hand side, you have, this is a very typical layout of any planning board for any factory. You make the same thing in Excel, you can make the same thing on Fast React, you can make the same thing in Kandari, you can do the same thing in various other softwares. But what is unique about this is that it does planning on its own. It doesn't require any intervention manual. No need to move one order from here to here. No need to be worried about what kind of processes are. No need to know what kind of loading is there on each department. It will tell you everything. It will take care of everything on its own. So you have various lines. It is showing you various shipments. It is showing you what is the detail of each shipment, how much late it is, how much time it will take to, how much late it will be. So it is showing you that it will be 9 days late, for example. It is telling you how many pieces do I need to produce on this, how many pieces I have planned for it, when it can start, all details about the order. It is telling you that right now. You can also fine tune an order. If you realize that okay, I planned this order at 400 pieces, but I can make maybe 450 pieces, you can do that right there. The planning will change immediately, and it will update everything. Once you finalize your plan, once you realize okay, this is the plan I want to have, you finalize it. Everything is updated. You can have the shipment status for each of them. So very basic understanding. Red is late. Yellow is critical, you are closing very, very close to shipment date, and green is safe. What are the planning considerations that we want to do in this? One is the line capability, which is very, very important. What we want to do is, after a line who's capable of doing shirts, we want to allocate shirts again and again and again to that line only. We don't want to mix and match again and again. It is not fashion to do you mix one product with another product in the same line. What you want to do is you want to allocate, okay, these 5 lines will do shirts, these 4 lines will do bottoms, these 2 lines will do jackets, for example. At any point of time, if you have a situation that you have more jackets, you can always do that. The provision is there. But otherwise, as far as the automatic planning goes, it will take care of it, that whatever is your preference, it will allocate according to that. The line productivity, some lines may be more productive as compared to some lines. So you can define that as well. The software automatically replans everything accordingly. And it tries its best to fit so that you can meet your shipments. If you cannot meet the shipments, it will come back to you and show you, okay, these are the orders I cannot fit. There may be various reasons. Then you require an exception planning. Okay, this is an order where I can't do anything about it. The priority of the orders is another thing which is very, very important, because some orders we want to do immediately, some orders we want to do late. Depending on the shipment date, I can set my priority. Depending on my earliest start date, I can set my priority. But I can change my priority as and when I require. Production update. On a daily basis, you're making some pieces. As soon as you update a production, it takes care of the planning once again. It tells you, okay, you have planned to produce, let's say, 600 pieces by now. You have only produced 400 pieces. You have 200 pieces running late. It replans everything in the same line, and it reallocates the orders to some other line if the orders are not meeting the deadline. It takes care of that as well. Any new order booking you want to do, it tells you when your line capacity is free, or within the line how much my capacity is free. It may be happening that you have booked an order, let's say in February, but you still have maybe 4 or 5 days which is available inside the line, maybe in January itself. So you can plan for that as well. Some features which I want to light upon. Automatic planning of orders based on the capabilities, capacities, order delays, and holidays. It takes care of all of it. Automatic replanning based on changes in production, any new orders which came in, any shipment date change, it takes care of that as well. It tells you the predictability of the order delivery date for any new orders. When can you actually deliver that order? Upstream and downstream planning. What order to make, where, when. So I have a cutting room plan as well, that I need to cut only 500 pieces of this order and 600 pieces of that order and 1000 pieces of that order on this particular day. If I know that, And similarly, my fabric is also planned accordingly, that I need to get this much fabric from fabric store on this particular day. Similarly, the production house of the fabric also knows that I need this much of fabric on this particular day, on this particular, and it is getting updated as and when changes are happening. It is updated on a regular basis. Are we not moving towards more lean? Are we not moving towards more of control on our working capital? So that takes care of that as well. Alarms and alerts. In case something did not happen on time, it tells you immediately. Projected daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly sales contribution, your production contribution, actual contribution, your cash flow can come out of it. The visibility of skills, machines, manpower, all future order for a proactive response. It can tell you, I would need single needle operators 500 on this particular day, 400, I will require 10 extra operators of Kansai on this particular day. If I know 4 months in advance that I will require 10 extra Kansai operators in, let's say, in February, I cannot plan for it. Can I not train somebody in 4 months? Very easily I can. And if I have this visibility, I can do that. If I don't have this visibility, then yes, we are stuck. Right now, that is the situation. On the last day, when we start the order, then we come to know, okay, we are maybe two people short. If we know it in advance, we can do the planning much better. Just some examples I want to give you. For example, if you change the priority of an order where it was planned here, it automatically moves if in case something has to be. If you feel that, okay, I want to change my priority, it can do that. Dynamic allocation of one or more lines. If you see that one line is not enough, you want to plan for more lines because I'm running late on this, it takes care of that as well. It automatically plans that. Dynamic update based on daily production. I think production is missing in here. So yesterday I did a production update, automatically updated. So I know what is the status of my next order. A very important part of our planning is the TNA. No merchandisers here, so interesting. But TNA is typically an Excel sheet which you make. You prepare an Excel sheet, all the activities, you decide which activity will happen after what activity, and you stick with it. The merchandiser always follows that, and I'm quite sure people try and stick to that date always. But it doesn't sync with your production plan. What if the production has moved from you planned this production will move from here to here? What happens to your TNA? TNA doesn't change. It remains an Excel sheet even then. So all the backward and forward planning, even for TNA, has to be updated dynamically for it. So what we have done is we combined this TNA along with the production plan. What we have done is that when my input date moves, all my TNA dates as well move. And by doing that, I'm ensuring that all my activities are taken care of on time at least. Even I'm relaxing that merchandiser or the other department people that this activity can happen maybe 2 days later. You have 2 days time. But if the order moves 2 days in advance, all the TNA activities also move 2 days in advance. And then my merchandiser also knows that there's a critical thing which is happening. So I need to take care of that as well. Respective people get the notification immediately, so they know what they have to do in this week, this day, this month. They know that. If the job is not completed on time, the person in charge gets the notification. So escalation mechanism is built in, which takes care of that as well. The daily activity list and performance of each employee. What is the contribution of each person towards actual execution of the orders in your factory? A typical list of reports which I want to mention here. One is the order summary report. What is the status of each order? Are we running late? Are we on time? When I'm going to start this order? When I'm going to finish this order? When can I offer an inspection? Which lines it will run in? How many lines will it go into? What will be the daily target? What will be the first day target? Everything is on one sheet. Buyer-wise, date-wise, available to you. Shipment date-wise, of course. So it is telling you what my plan is going to be in the future. Line-wise booking status, it is telling you what is the position of my lines. So I can know today that in January, I have 10 line days available to me. And probably I can move some other order there, or I can move some order earlier, or I need to book some order. Otherwise, that 10 days will be lost for me. But I know this in advance. I know today, about January, about February, today itself. I don't need to wait till then. Monthly dispatch and production targets. What are the plans in the future? How much money am I generating in the month-wise, week-wise, day-wise? What is my shipment schedule? What orders do I need to ship in this month? What do I need to ship in next month and so on? What is my process-wise plan? When do I need to cut what? Production-wise, product-wise booking status. I can know that I have capacity available. But what do I need to book for that capacity? That also I can get from there. So I can tell you that you need to produce, you need to book maybe another certain number of pieces for maybe shirts only, or bottoms, or jackets, or t-shirts. Employee-wise performance report, who is working and who is not. Due tasks, what is not happening. So you have a list of that. To-do lists, what needs to be done today, in this week, or this month. Alerts to management, because of the escalation mechanism. What is the critical resource plan for me? Do I have enough machineries, or am I getting into a trouble sometime because of my planning today? I can know that today itself. And plan versus actual. What did I plan and what did I actually produce? If I don't monitor that, I'm not doing a planning right. For management, some key reports will come out. Contribution and cash flow, month-wise, week-wise, whatever. Product-wise, booking status, whether I'm actually booking or not. Employee appraisals based on the task performance can happen. Effective discussions with buyer, capacity, approvals, status, everything is available to you. And traffic light system, of course, for the management, for all the tasks. The impact of planning which we want to have here is that focus efforts should be done only for the delayed orders. We don't want to touch upon those orders which are actually executing on time. Right now, what is happening? All orders are there. All orders we are focusing. All orders we have troubled about. If we have detailed planning available to us, we can directly focus only on the delayed orders and do something about it. If we know what manpower will be required 3 months from now, can we manage it? Of course, I believe we can. If we know what will we need, if we need 4 extra Kansai operators in 3rd and 4th week of December, can't we train for them now? Synchronization for planning in other departments and capacity in-house department. If our in-house department does not meet the capacity, can we do something about it? Can we outsource? I believe that if you don't plan, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So with that, I close my presentation. If there are any questions, you can ask. I hope I'm on time as well.
Very, very efficiently done. Thank you. Any questions regarding the software? Where is the software from?
This is from a Hong Kong-based company called CSL Software. So they have operations in Bangladesh as well. And in India also we are implementing in a couple of factories right now. Not a couple of factories, actually 4 factories are happening right now.
So as I understand it, it's kind of like fast react, but it's automatic.
It's automatic. We actually believe in that because even with fast react, or I'm not trying to comment on the fast react, but yes, the idea is that you don't have to spend time in doing the planning. It should be done automatic depending on whatever changes are happening on a daily basis. So that's the purpose. Focus has to shift from manual planning to automatic. You should be focusing more on the execution instead of doing the plan on a daily basis because things are changing almost every day. And what I've seen so far is every factory has today, many factories that I've been to so far, I see that fabric has been received, but you're not making that order right now. And the order is there, you want to execute it, the fabric hasn't come in time. So these kind of things, till the time you don't plan for it, automatically, you're bound to fail somewhere. That's the idea.
The cost of this software?
It depends on the factory to factory, of course. The range starts from $15,000 onwards. And this includes implementation as well.
Traditional systems available.
I would not say that. It's almost in the same range, but it includes implementation as well. And implementation is the key always.
There are service centers in India also.
We are taking care of that, yes. Yes, sir.
I think this program is for standard.
No, actually not. Actually not.
Daily, 90% people make high fashion.
Yes.
The problems are different.
Yes.
The yoke has to be cut,
Yes.
sent for a machine embroidery,
Yes.
come back,
Yes.
and then again a hand embroidery.
Yes.
By the time, and then beadwork. By the time it comes back from the beadwork, the storeman hasn't checked the color of the bead is.
Very true, sir. That is
What this program will do.
so that is exactly where we are recommending this, because the number of processes that are involved specifically with NCR factories, it can range up to 12, 15 processes in one garment also, because the example that you just gave, there's so many processes where it has to go, come back, go, come back, go, come back, and every time you have to keep a track of it, how many pieces did it come, whether I will be able to manage that or not. How do you know how many pieces do you need to produce on a daily basis? You don't know. So if you do the automatic planning on this, what happens is it takes care of that process as well. It tells you that, okay, you need to produce these many pieces of this particular product for, you need to, let's say, send for your beading on that day.
But sir, my experience is,
Ji, sir.
for 40 years in the government,
Yes, sir.
at that time, day-to-day planning by a person. Because every day the thing changes.
Definitely, sir.
You face a different problem.
Definitely.
I don't know how my young people are thinking about it, but this happens.
No, I completely agree with that, sir. That is the reason why we are trying to say that a person cannot handle this kind of a situation. A single person doing the planning, it is very, very complicated.
Section has a different person.
No, sir, but the coordination is the way the problem is.
I think this is a continuing organized production also. I am running
Yes, sir.
in the ordnance factories.
Ji.
I used to work some 45 years back.
Okay.
What we were discussing, same thing we were applying in our setup.
Very nice.
And I enjoyed it running all the sections,
Right.
from stores to packing.
Right.
These things, so I think in organized production also.
Sir, this is exactly where I'm trying to come to. Even for the the organized factories are actually easier to plan, because you know what are the processes. You know how there are only some number of processes which are there. Standard product factory. Actually, sir. Sir, I will put it in a very simple way. If anything is easy to plan, you don't require a software for doing that. The only problem is when you actually have too many things to plan, you are depending on a person to make the plan. Only if it is automatic, software does all the calculation parts of it. There's so many calculations involved. Yes. So production, we are not saying. See, if you plan for it at least, then the job of the person becomes to actually execute it also. So, for example, if 500 pieces were supposed to be done beading today, we know it in advance, 5 days, maybe 4 months in advance. Can I not book my capacity at that point of time itself, that I do that 500 pieces at least? Because what usually happens, the day I send it out, that is exactly where the problem is, sir. If you send it today, immediately that person has the capacity or not, you do not know. So if I'm able to book that kind of backward and forward integration is something which is always a problem. But
We have worked with the system
ji,
where everything was fixed.
happy times.
I have worked all my life in the system. Everything was fixed. We used to make 99% we used to make
Yes,
our own planning. And
happy times, sir.
not that we use the programs. And today there is no compulsion except that the buyer may take or may not take 90% he takes.
Right. So it is very much useful. What we can do probably is I can ask you sometime and I can come and demonstrate how it can help you maybe. So that detailed, specifically for your factory, I can probably show you. Yes, sir.
What are the complications of running this software? In a lot of cases, we see factories, people show the software, and the complications of working it.
It's
is
very
either
complicated.
It is rejected or accepted. Now, when you say you've implemented this in 4 factories, how many days did it take seriously, and you feel it is implemented 100% in a certain standard time?
Sir, the two parts of it actually. One is the software being implemented and the planning reports start coming out. We normally do not do alone installation of the software. We normally take it along with the other parts of the improvement of the factory as well. But as far as the software is concerned, the implementation doesn't take more than a month's time. As far as the implementation goes, how we do is very simple. We take only one person who is trained on doing all the entry part of it. Entries are very simple for each order. I have already mentioned what entries are required, which are already available with the factory. The planning is done by the software automatically, so you don't require a person to do the planning anymore. So as far as the transfer of the data is concerned, that can happen within 7 to 10 days. After that, what is more challenging always is how to train people to start using it. The problem always happens when people do not want to. I have been to factories where people actually do the production first and they want to change the plan to match the production. That is not how the planning should work, and which is where we have actually faced the delays as well. So what we had to ultimately convince the people that no, that is not the way to work, and you plan and then you execute it. You can't start doing it any line and then you come back to software and tell the software to make the plan, change in the plan. That is not the way to work. Other than that, it happens within a month's time.
Why do you think people don't do it?
Sir, two reasons. One is that from top to bottom, there are many people who are involved. Till the time there is no owner of the implementation in the factories, it will never work. And that is where the champions come into picture. That is where the people on the bottom who do not want to follow anybody. So what we need to do then is we need to go ourselves. That is where we get into picture, which is where we are getting involved. So because we believe that implementation is the only thing which is challenging in this country, and that is why we want to train even the bottom level person to start using the plan. Because ultimately, what does a cutter want to do? Cutter has to cut what is available to him. If the fabric is available, if the marker is available, for example, what is the problem? No problems. The problem is that somebody else who came back, who said, no, you do this, for example. So what we need to do is we need to train those people who are down the line to start doing things as per the plan. So it is the activity which takes more time as compared to doing the planning part. Implementation doesn't take more than a week's time, the retail software to run. Next 3 weeks it takes to actually train people.
So,
I think his question is not answered. Why the people don't want to do it?
Two reasons. One is that they don't want to believe it. That's one. Second is there's somebody else who thinks that they used to do the planning by their own. Automatic planning is not something they're used to yet.
If they know it's an easier thing and it's a better way, then why you should not,
No, that is not the reason. See, that's what I'm trying to say. Initially, initial resistance will always be there. So which is where we need to start training. And once we start training them, they start seeing the benefits out of it, we get out of that.
see,
They run it on their own.
if I may add, the Achilles heel of most of these softwares, planning softwares, is that somebody has to enter the information first. So if you put a special person that, his job is just to enter the information that this has happened, right? So then he has to go to every process. I'm just asking, is that if there's a person for data entry, or how does it
It's
work?
very simple. We just need the details of orders.
Okay.
That has to be entered. Detail of orders is available with almost every factory today, so that's not a problem. What second thing which it requires a production update on a daily basis. The production is being updated. You define the templates in the beginning for the merchants as well, because that is dynamic, automatically. It's updated.
How does the TNA get updated is what I'm asking. If an approval
automatically-
has come or not, how does it pick up an approval has received?
For that, there's only one simple check process. The activity done or not. Simple. Activity done or not.
Who does that?
Individual people have to do that.
The merchandise have to do it.
Yes.
So-
but there's no entry by them.
No, that's my point, is that the information has to be managed, because what we're doing is planning is actually putting information together, right? I mean, we were always sending shipments even before, like the gentleman said, even in the other time, we're sending them now also with various tools.
Yes.
And where I've seen, because I've tried various tools and my team will attest to it, where it always fails is the information is not updated on time. That is the Achilles heel of the program. So it's like the rule of computers. I think garbage in, garbage out. So if you don't put in good information, you will not get good results at the back.
That is where the escalation program comes into picture. So, for example, now the problem is if the next person doesn't want to follow it again, then things will never work. What he rightly said, the owner has to get into picture. So till you're getting a report on a daily basis. So if you see a report and you see somebody did not do a job, if you don't ask it, things will never work.
So this is where we have, this is actually where we have planners to do this job. And if we take over his job, it goes back from the success factors
So
from
that is what I
the
call it
previous
more
talk.
of execution. I call it execution actually instead of calling it the planning. So planning part is only doing the plan. Once the plan is done, you need to execute it. And where execution comes into picture, you have to start following up with the people whether they did their job or not and why did they not do the job. If they did not do the job and still did not update it, updation is something which is necessary, and it's a very simple thing to be done on a daily basis. If even that they can't do, then I don't know what they can.
That's the challenge. You see, that's what typically happens. That people get bogged down with 10,000 things, and they don't put the priority on this updation.
So that is where the priorities comes into picture.
Sure.
So yes.
So that's why people don't do it.
Do you notice the period of implementation is varies factory to factory?
We had one factory where it was delayed. Yes, it was delayed, but that did not happen because of the software or anything. It happened because the owner was not interested in doing things then. But once he understood the impact of the planning, things got implemented immediately.
No, across the Delhi NCR belt, you find the implementation period is almost the same in the factory?
1 to 1.5 months. Yes.
We also give support on implementing with the existing ERPs.
We do implementation ourselves. We will run the system for you.
No,
make it running.
integration with an existing ERP.
Yes, I mean,
that's a
actually,
key
the data
part.
has to come from them. So some companies have their own ERP, so the data comes from that. Gets uploaded, of course. It comes in a structured format, gets uploaded. So you still need one person to actually upload the data. But yes, it directly gets.
But it doesn't pick up from it automatically.
See, there's so much of calculations which are involved. So just data transfer it doesn't work. So you need to actually run the system as well once. So that's where it. As soon as some data is updated, it changes the plan.
Because from personal experience, again, I'm just going back. That's also been a big issue. That a lot of information, when you say data entry, already happens one time in an ERP or something like that. And when it comes on a repetition, that you have to update it again in a different system, or a person has to update it in a separate system. So that's when I asked you my question that you need a person to update things.
We need one person to
one
update
person,
it.
and he has to get the information from somewhere, whether a
It
system
comes
or a
from,
person.
yes.
Right. So and that means that's what actually a planner does today. He gets the information from every department and updates
Yes.
it.
But after
so
getting
it's
the
not really
information, what happens?
eliminating a planner. It's not really eliminating a planner. You've just taken a grade of, okay, a planner may be a very intelligent guy, and you've taken a guy to just follow up his assistant,
That's
planner's
true.
assistant,
That's true.
to do the job. So we still need that.
Require a good system analyst over a plan. System analyst in every computer company, there is a system analyst who tells what is required.
So,
Planner doesn't know what is required.
so what I understand is that data transfer doesn't take time. It doesn't take much of an effort also. Yes, yes. See, as far as the data is concerned, there are a lot of other things which are involved. Anybody has an ERP will have the software analyst as well. So software is not the key here. The data transfer is not the key here. What is the most important where the challenge comes in how do you define the logic, and which is where we help. We help you design the logics in such a way, like in your case it will be too complicated, of course, but once you define it, it becomes a simple thing to be done. So the planning happens automatically. But what Mr. Uppal was trying to say that the implementation might take time. Yes, it takes time if the commitment is not there from the other side. And I've seen my whatever small experience that I have that implementation can do very well if the top management is interested in that.
One more question,
Yes.
this side here.
Sure.
Okay, taking off from what Akshay was talking about, a lot of times the buy-in doesn't happen at the ground level because people feel that there is additional work that is being created without adequate results coming out, where entries have to be done again and again by people, the same entries have to be done. And I mean, this is a problem because we all have today, most of us have ERPs, then you go for planning tools, you go for other kinds of, maybe people are on the computer for their email correspondence and everything. So within your system, one part is taking data from the ERP, which will update what is the status of the production and then rework the plan. Is there any integration with maybe task management software or email software, which also, then allows people who are not doing actual production jobs, but who are updating TNA activities, their activities to also get seamlessly uploaded in the software?
So TNA management, as far as what you're referring to TNA, for example, is that if you have your own software for TNA, is that what you're trying to say?
No, what I'm saying is that most people are already doing TNA on something. Either they have an ERP or they're doing it on Excel or manually or whatever. Now, the issue is that you're updating your TNA manually today, and then you have to update that. You said that you have to check that activity is done or not done in
Right.
your software. That's the same thing being done twice.
Sir, this is where I want to mention that when you say the initial TNA, which is linked with your ERP, is it updating on a regular basis based on your plan?
Sure, it has to be updated.
Based on the plan. So, for example, if an order moves
Yeah,
from one
yeah,
place to another.
absolutely, based on the plan.
So you're already doing the planning then?
Of course.
So then you don't need our
No,
software.
you're talking about automating planning, right?
Yes,
You're
yes.
talking about your software for automating.
Yes, yes. So software takes care of automation only based on other things as well. So it does the automation for the planning and as well as updates the TNA, updates all the other departments accordingly. So if your planning is automated or it is happening manually, then you're actually doing the same job right now. Automating it will require certain information to be transferred, updating it, transferring it back. That integration can happen. I can discuss with them, and integration is not a problem. The problem is ultimately this software has to run, right? So if the software is running, yes, integration can be possible. Yes.
Share some more insights about your software. How exactly it is more competitive versus what all is available here?
Sir, I think the only thing which I mentioned initially or later also, no need to have a smart person for doing this, but just an automate. It is automatic, so you don't need a person to doing it. That's the only difference.
Mr. Som, as you said in your conversation, that people might come from production and they do want a line and they change a line, and that has been because of the planning, right? Which this system doesn't allow. What happens if there is a challenge from the supply chain or from the approval part? Let's say it has been failed. In that case, also we need a line to match the production because delivery doesn't change.
So, if you remember, I mentioned if anything changes on your backward planning or TNA task.
But it is internal. From buyer side, the dates are same.
Yes,
so we
yes.
need another line.
Yes, so you can do that. That is allowed. Yes, why not?
As you said, right now, what you are doing is you are just coming and changing the lines just to match.
No,
your
what I was
production.
trying to refer to is, sir, that for example, if you make a plan today and you plan to run this order in, let's say, line number 1, okay?
You know what the companies rightly doing right now, as you said, the organized companies, they might be doing their planning, and they are doing the planning on the base of the lines, availability of the lines, capacities, everything has been worked out. But even though we become somewhere we become a failure because of our supply chain or approvals, in that case also the software says the same thing.
No, sir. Allow me to rephrase myself in that case. I mean that when we make the plan is recalculated, re-updated on a regular basis based on whatever is changing. So if your shipment date changed, for example, it updates. If your previous department did not produce goods on time, it updates. If your line is not available on time, it updates. On a production update on a regular basis, it updates. So whatever changes you're referring to, that this change, supply chain changes happened, the program changes your plan as well accordingly.
We lack, as Mr. Kapoor Sahab has told, the problem is from the bottom line. If they don't want to put a right data, the system fails.
Sir, that is true for almost any system
that
in
is
any
something-
world, anywhere if you go.
Yeah, that is something which we are we need to curb on.
So you have
That
a
is
mobile
what we are
today.
looking for. Every software, we are just wanting the software to curb all this.
Sir, I'll give you a very simple example to you. You have mobile today. Your name, somebody's name there, and put the wrong number there. It will always dial differently. So you can't do anything about that. So
I think
data has to be correct.
I think a better example is
what I meant?
I've asked people to silence their phone 3 times. This lovely gathering has not got that message through.
Yeah.
I mean, you're trying to get an educated merchandiser or a top manager or planner to update the information. I've got owners, I've got the top people in this room. I've asked 3 times to silence phones. It's not happened, So people can't follow a simple instruction. They don't have commitment to a cause.
And even though the people sitting over here are the literate,
Of course.
and we are working with the literate.
Of course, they're not, but those people are not on this system, right?
Yeah.
My point is that if you want to do it, it'll happen. If you don't want to do it, it'll not happen. As simple as that. And you have other reasons to give it importance or give it less importance.
The biggest challenge is to just to curb those people.
My question is, Mr.
Yes.
Surya Prakash. your department has done the audits for the, especially the OGTC companies for the lean. Any key parameters for the MSME which you think the government factories which is they can be done further on that?
See, audit actually what we have been doing is only with reference to whatever the plan has been given by the consultant. We only just try to see whether what is committed is doing it. So many times what happens is the consultant overcommits. See, in what we have seen here is that in their enthusiasm they overcommitted by taking almost everything in the plant. See. In fact, it's also because the owner also feels that this is an opportunity to solve all the problems. So he tells the consultant, take 10 projects, take 8 projects. In fact, see, I have recently come to, I was in Bangalore. In my region, I've told all my consultants that you should only take 1 project in a phase. You take 5 projects, do it correctly. The owner may say, in fact, to the extent that some of them said, to solve an energy problem, do energy conservation study, energy audit you do. That's not part of lean. So this is what, I think in North I have seen many of the consultants take too many projects and not able to complete. Because in fact, one more thing I forgot to mention here was, see, this particular lean exercise is not end all, it's not a complete solution. Meaning that, it's that in this 1 year that you solve all the problems. The consultant is only, taking a few projects just to build capacity in the plant, that how to approach a problem, how to find solution, how to move on. So you should take only some few projects and ensure that the capacity is built. People understand how to, the methodology, how to take a project, how to, rather than doing everything himself. But this is a misunderstanding, the owners think that, I have paid money, so the consultant has to solve all my problems. So this is what I am trying to, break actually. So, you look at the larger picture, even the owners also should understand that this is a journey, This is only a sample. In 1 year he tells us, then we take it forward. So that is what, the thing. So I don't know because I have not audited this thing, but the specific problems I really don't know. But the problem is very similar, of course. It's even if you take a simple problem, try to solve it, rather than taking too many problems, not solving anything. Let me also just give this. These are all simple things, It may look very simple, but we don't do it, Like they say, common sense is the rarest thing, actually, We never use common sense. I just read in a paper, when I was in Bangalore, there was an Indonesian, Philippines participant who was attending a seminar in IIM. So he has just given a statement saying that I find Indians are very 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 intelligent people, but because of the intelligence, they always try to find complex solutions for simple problems. But he says we Filipinos, we're not very intelligent. We look for simple solutions for complex problems also. So that should be the approach, look for simple solution, like what you're discussing also. It's very very simple, as you said, willingness to work, it has to build in stages. Yeah, thank you.
Som Sekhar, something for you.
Just
You should not find it complicated.
I tried to actually simplify everything, that you don't need much of complications, make it automatic. So that is one part. Ultimately, even today, we still don't have a robot which can go and slap people around. So once that happens also, we'll find an even simpler solution ultimately.
We have a...
Come up with a robot adding muscles.
Maybe we can utilize that later.
We have a few minutes.
That robot will have a very high, support in our politicians. Why they'll hire the muscle man? They will hire the robot now.
We have a few minutes while the last session finishes, because we're waiting for those people to come in. And I just wanted to take this time and thank again Som Sekhar and Mr. Surya Prakash. And actually, I wanted to also ask one more question of Mr. Surya Prakash. From your vast experience and you're from a productivity council, and you've traveled, you've seen different countries, different things. I think it would be very immensely helpful to all of us if, in your words, what you would explain the concept of lean or an idea of lean. A little bit, just in brief. Okay. Because what happens is, I think, many people misunderstand what we're trying to do. And the concept gets lost in actually what you said is finding the immediate solution, and then we lose focus, or we want an immediate answer to everything. That point. So I think if with your vast experience, you would just briefly explain what you feel to you, what does lean mean to you in layman's words, I think it'll be very informative and educational for the rest of us over here. Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah. It's a very big subject, but let me just only give the basic, simplest terms, lean is lean actually, So, meaning lean is lean, it seems, when this Anil Ambani, at one time he was more than 100 kgs, Since, when he was giving a seminar in US, giving some, long-sighted, vision for Reliance, some student asked, are you sure that you live long enough to realize his dreams? Americans are very straightforward, So he was shocked, what's he, Then he realized that, he's overweight. So after the first thing he did after coming out to to Bombay, engaged a dietitian and went on that, becoming lean spree. And then today, he's always one of the, he runs that marathon and all that, every day he runs 16 kilometers. He's very lean now, really. So, this is a very simple way of, explaining. Yeah, see, the concept of lean is that only, see, lean is a positive thing. To be lean is always good. Medically it's proven. And of course now all the size 0 and all that what they say, it's proving that to be lean is good and good for health. The same concept in industry also. What we do is we add up a lot of junk in industry, because for example, as I said, supposing a machine is not working, what do? We don't try to solve the problem. That spare is failing, okay, buy a spare. It's failing more frequently, buy more spare. Right? So we want to get on with the production, leaving the problem, keeping the problem. But in the process, what happens? We build up a lot of inventory. We have more spares. Okay. Now, when you have more spares, it's actually, you are adding cost to your thing. It's not a good way. You're adding weight. Similarly, if you have too much inventory in your shop floor, actually, why should there be? In fact, we talk in terms of single piece flow. Zero inventory. You should not see any inventory in there. At the end of the day, at the most, you should only see one unit in each workstation. Okay. So if you have too much of inventory, again, it's adding. It's like being fat. So the idea is that if you look at everything, like supposing in a factory, if you try to measure how much a person moves in a day, right? Now you question, why should he move so much? Of course, moving is good for him. It will keep him in good health. But is it good for the company? You see, in one Japanese company, I found there was a poster, 1 step, 1 yen. The meaning is that every step taken by an operator, worker in the factory, costs the company 1 yen. That means if people are just moving around, that means it's a loss of productive time, but you're paying salary for him, So unnecessary movement, of people, unnecessary movement of your forklifts, trolleys, conveyors, right? So all these, if it is unnecessary, it's a waste, right? And if it's a waste, waste doesn't go anywhere, no? It's going to cost the company. So what lean talks about is how to reduce this waste. Okay, there are 7 types of waste, what Toyota says: waste of effort, waste of movement, waste of material, waste of space, waste of time, waste of machinery. So there were 7 wastes they identify. So if you focus on these 7 wastes, identify where all these wastes are there, you systematically eliminate waste, you are actually going towards a better, cost-effective, optimized production system. That's the concept of lean. Now to do that, that is one. There are 2 concepts. One is eliminate waste. See, other one is flow. See, for example, I'll give an analogy. The difference between Bangalore and in Delhi is that when you go, I know how many of you have seen visit. I am from Bangalore anyway. The one biggest problem we face in Bangalore is traffic and all. Any road you go, you will never see traffic moving. It always moves, only inches. But whereas Delhi, I think movement is traffic. Fairly smooth. But in a road, when you see movement, traffic is not moving smoothly. Is it good or bad? It means, what is the waste coming out of it? Waste of time. People waste time. Waste of fuel. Constantly, keeping your, vehicles and, idling and all that. And and adding to the climate thing. So rather than that, and the road capacity is not being used. But as against that, if you see traffic flowing smooth, you are actually saving time, you're saving fuel, right? So it's similar to that. In a factory also, if you find the production is not moving smoothly, you find some machines or some workstations are working, some workstations are not working. People are idle. Something is happening, Now that is, the flow is not there, So in lean, we look at flow. There should be a flow. Starting from beginning to end, there should be movement, The best form of production is that where there's a flow of production, rather than, just stoppages and all that. So in lean, we try to achieve these two, that there should be a constant flow of production and there should not be any waste. These are two things we attack in lean. Now this waste and smooth flow is applicable everywhere, whether it is a restaurant or a shopping mall or a manufacturing company or even service industry. These things are important. Same concept, no? So how to achieve this? That is what is lean. There are many techniques available in this, So many techniques available. So implementing these techniques will take you to that goal. So that is the concept of lean. So that means you become leaner. So this is what, in simple terms. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. I can further elaborate. Always keep in mind, what I said about traffic, Your production flow in your factory should be similar to a smooth flow of traffic, what you see on a highway or on an expressway. That is the best way of production. But the moment you see things, something working, something not moving, something is wrong. So that's how the concept of, that single piece flow, pull production system. I mean, I'll only produce when the customer wants. Otherwise, I'll not produce. Why should I produce? If I produce, it will only cost me. So that means I should make my production system such a way that when the customer wants, I start moving backwards, I start pulling production, That is, your finishing will try to pull from previous. Then like that it goes on up to merchandising, So then it comes to JAT. That means you only supply material when you want it, So that is the way it comes. That's the way JAT is actually part of lean, So this is in simple terms what is lean. So any doubt, yeah.
Do you mean that this comes to triple R?
Triple?
Reduce, recycle. Is it the best way to achieve lean and mean?
No, that is more from the environmental angle, sir. That's more.
So removing inefficiency,
Yeah, but
reducing all your waste, waste in terms of
yeah.
emissions,
Okay. It converges. Okay, recycling. Yeah.
All right,
say that, yeah.
Mr. Surya Prakash, thank you so much. That was very informative.